Zelensky won
Hey, what's up, you guys? Yeah, I was watching a documentary earlier today about General Custer, you know? That famous battle, Last Stand, the Little Bighorn. I was like, Little Bighorn? That's gotta be euphemism for penis, right? Come on, like, Little Bighorn? Like, this is your bighorn, and here's your little bighorn. Yeah, doctors are so full of shit, right? You know, back in the day, in the 20s, people didn't really trust eating hamburgers. And so when White Castle came out, they hired a bunch of doctors to sit in the restaurants eating hamburgers and stuff. And people were like, oh, well, I guess hamburgers are healthy for you, right? Hamburgers aren't healthy, you know? And then a couple decades later, in the 40s and 50s, doctors were like selling cigarettes, right? To this day, you can go on YouTube and see commercials. They're like, oh, I'm a doctor, I smoke Camels, right? That's such, you know, they're doctors, they know better, right? It's such bullshit, you know? And the newest doctor scam that they're pulling is the whole prostate rectal exam thing, right? Yeah. You know, I've heard 100 stories of people with prostate rectal exam. They all end the same way. They didn't find anything. You know, if it's so important, why don't you tell me what to look for? And I'll stick my own finger up my ass by myself. Right? How about that, huh? But oh no, not that, right? You gotta have a medical degree to find a bubble in your butt. You know, my colon's not the only bullshit. Yeah, you know, in the NFL, they have one Asian person, right? And he's a kicker. Did you not find a more racist position to put this guy in? You know what I mean? Or is he going to go out in a karate uniform? Yeah, you see, a couple weeks ago, OJ died. That was pretty crazy, right? What was even more crazy was the way he kind of crashed the internet. Yeah, the second he died, half of America got online and was like, who the fuck is OJ Simpson? Yeah, I was watching this Bigfoot documentary that day, and I was struck at how dedicated these Bigfoot hunters were, you know? They're so devoted to something that might not even be real, like comedians in their careers. Yeah, now April 4th is now a new holiday. It's National Burrito Day. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, I love burritos. And then the very next day, April 5th, is now National Toilet Clogging Day. Yeah, did you guys see that boat that crashed in that bridge over in Baltimore? Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? It crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It's kind of ironic, right? It's like, oh, say, can you see? There's a giant fucking boat coming! Yeah, they said the boat came from Singapore. I was like, ah, crap. An Asian driver, you know? Yeah, they said on the news the boat weighed 200 million pounds. That's pretty damn heavy, right? It was actually even heavier before. It was actually 300 million pounds. But my ex-wife, she got off the boat right for you. Yeah, I was watching the Olympics. I mean, not the Olympics, the Oscars a couple weeks ago, right? Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. It was pretty crazy. I mean, you know, towards the end, I was getting excited. I was like, hey, look, they're bringing back the Mummy. But then I was like, oh no, that's just Al Pacino. Yeah, I was in the United States Army, first cavalry division, Fort Hood. It was pretty cool, you know. It was weird being the only Asian person, though. And every day, people were just looking at me like, are we supposed to shoot this guy? It's cool being in the Army, and you get some good benefits. I'd say the best benefit is the ability to give old men hard-ons. Yeah, old men, they love hearing Army stories. You know, I guess because it makes them feel younger, it gives them hope for the future, whatever, but it doesn't even matter what race they are. Like, if I meet some old man in the park, and I start telling them Army stories, I'll tell him to come all over me. Yeah, I noticed some anti-gay cultures are actually quite gay. Like Arab culture, for instance, right? You know, they're kind of notorious for being harsh on their LGBTQ, yet Arab men openly hold hands in the street. You know, how hypocritical is that, right? They're like, don't act gay! La 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 la. And Russians too, right? They're notorious for being violent towards their LGBTQ. But I was watching the Olympics once, and this Russian gymnast, after he finished his jump thing, instead of high-fiving his teammate, he kissed him on the mouth. And it wasn't just a peck either. They were like really going at it. We don't tolerate the homosexual in Russia. Come, Vladimir. Yeah, I noticed men in other cultures, they seem to enjoy a level of intimacy with each other that we just kind of lack out here. And I have seen it a little bit, you know, because I was in the Army, right? You know, the Army is very anti-gay. Because it's okay. You're constantly surrounded by other dudes, and sometimes you're like mostly naked or just totally naked sometimes, right? Like the shower is a perfect example, right? There used to be this one guy in the shower, every time he'd be there with a rock hard boner. Yeah, at the time the policy of gay people in the army was don't ask, don't tell. Nobody had to ask this guy if he was gay or not. He was all knocking over shampoo bottles and shit. And it's shocking, you know, you walk in the shower room, you're like, what the fuck? Eddie, soldier! You know, in the army you're supposed to be hardcore, but not that hard. Not that core. I'll end with this story. It's the day I left for the army, right? All right, my mom, she came home from work early that day, right? She'd never done this before. And so we went to Denny's and shit and had lunch. You know, I remember I had spaghetti and sausage. And I remember I was so fucking nervous, I couldn't eat anything. And so we get back home, and then I get my stuff ready, and we're just waiting, right? We're waiting for a couple hours. And then I'm starting to think, well, what if my recruiter doesn't show up, right? I'm like, yeah. But then as soon as that fucking clock hits, right when he said he'd be there, I hear these footsteps, right? And I can tell it's him because he's going really slow, like not like a normal person. And he walks up these stairs, and he goes like I hear him walking up to our door, and he knocks, right, like, doosh, all slow, right? And I open the door, it's my recruiter. And I'd seen him about 5 times before this, right? But I'd never seen him with all his full uniform on, you know? He's got all these medals and shit. And I was like, holy crap, this guy's like a fucking war hero. Anyway, I get my stuff, and I turn to my mom, right? Now, like, Asian people, you know, we're not very affectionate, right? And so my mom's never really hugged me or anything, you know? And so I'm looking at her, and she goes, bye, son. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I just turn, I go with my recruiter out the door, and we go down the steps, right? And we get in his car, and we back out. And just as we're about to pull out, my mom comes flying down the fucking stairs, right? And tears are fucking streaming down her face, you know? She runs to the car, she jumps on it and shit, and she goes, I love you, you know, don't die, you know, come back, right? And I'm like, you know, oh, yeah, I love you, Mom, you know, I'll come back, don't worry, you know? And I give her a big hug and shit, and we pull out. And I look back, and she's on the side of the road bawling, you know, like that shit. Yeah, it's crazy, you know? And then I call her an hour later, you know, because I'm all worried. And she's all partying with all her friends. Hi, my name's Luana. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you.
She's so good.
Thank you.